Da wäre ich jetzt vielleicht nicht so,
Sorry, I don't mean to bother you, but I couldn't help but notice you were speaking with the Hotori this whole time. I figured it might be useful if I offered another perspective.
immer raus damit.
Of course.
I have to say, I fully expected you to side with the Hotari, but obviously the Federation wants a steady supply of dilithium. Something only we can offer. Without a Lydian involvement, there is no dilithium trade. Left to the Hotari, it would be nothing short of a disaster.
We're not on either side. Our only interest is the peaceful resolution to this conflict.
As is ours. Of course, the question is, at what price? Major Salit Arminta, Special Attaché, Lydian Armed Forces. Pleasure to meet you, Commander. I have my issues with the Hotari, but I have to give them some credit. They know how to seize an opportunity. Inciting an uprising the same day as a massive, once-in-a-lifetime ion storm.
Our assumption was that this storm was just an anomaly.
Yes, a very convenient anomaly. At least that was what we were told. Of course, I wasn't there. But who am I to say otherwise?
You should know better than to believe everything you're told.
Well, the official story is that it was the storm that enabled the revolt. How else do a bunch of unarmed, unorganized miners seize control of an entire moon, much less thousands of mines? But I've talked to people who were there. They tell a different story. They say they're lucky to have escaped with their lives, that it was more than just the storm, that somehow the miners were able to harness the energy from the storm. I know it sounds crazy. I'm not even sure I believe it myself.
You just answered your own question. How do a group of miners do something that in theory can't be done? That's how. Harnessing the storm.
But even if it's true, how does that even happen?
You tell me.
If you'll excuse me, Commander Rydek.
Okay, also der Sturm muss irgendwas damit zu tun haben, was in den Minen abgelaufen ist. Er hat uns ja auch schon beschäftigt. Das heißt, er wird auf jeden Fall eine Rolle spielen. Und er hat was mit dem Aufstand der Hotari zu tun. Die Frage ist jetzt, was? Und das müssen wir rausfinden. Die beiden wollen nicht mit uns quatschen. Wir können jetzt hier noch stundenlang rumlaufen. Ich warte mal, die beiden wollen auch nicht quatschen. Ich weiß nicht, wen wir hier jetzt noch haben. Nö. Wir könnten zurückgehen, glaube ich. Denn hier geht's nicht weiter. Nee, da will man uns nicht durchlassen. Wir könnten, glaube ich, auch... Was haben wir denn da? Ein Banner. Ja, sieht schick aus. Mit wem redest du?
Pride can lead to rash action.
Ja, und Fanatiker sind unbeständige Freunde. Das wissen wir mittlerweile. Report your findings to Captain Solano. Ja, wo steckt denn der Captain? Ich will wieder da rein. Lasst mich durch. Sie lassen mich durch.
Well, that was a disaster.
What happened?
The Hotari refused to concede anything, so the Illydians stormed out.
Die sind aber auch stur.
The Hotari did not invite us here as peacekeepers.
Nee.
I hope your efforts were more fruitful than ours.
Ja, irgendwas stimmt doch mit denen nicht. Also, irgendwas ist da gewaltig schief gelaufen. Lasst mich mal kurz gucken, das Licht ist irgendwie aus. Schon besser.
Gravitational harmonics failing to resolve. Warp bubble stability degrading. Increase output to maximum.
Increasing warp output to maximum.
It's happening again.
Also man kann nicht auf
It is
Vollwarp gehen.
evident that presently the Resolute cannot achieve warp propulsion.
Since our diagnostics rule out any problems with our warp systems or anything about the ship, the problem appears to be the fabric of space itself.
Space itself? You're saying something about this region of space prevents warp travel?
So.
Prevents it or can't sustain it.
However improbable, that appears to be the case.
The storm didn't stop us from leaving space dock and traveling here. But could it still be causing this interference with warp travel?
We must follow sound investigatory principles. Do not let an assumed conclusion drive your analysis.
Sometimes we need a little inspired thinking, Mr. Chovak. Captain Solano is on his way back from the negotiations, and I want to have some answers for him when he gets here.
Indeed. Given the facts at hand, we may be able to deploy subspace probes around the ship to construct a clearer picture of the phenomenon.
Around the ship. I'll prep a shuttle.
Die wissenschaftliche Methode. Ich weiß nicht, warum wir immer noch in diesem komischen Feld sind. Also dem Asteroidenfeld.
I'm setting up a waypoint at a distance roughly corresponding to the edge of our warp field. When we get there, I'll deploy the first probe.
Ja, das ist die Steuerung und W und D. Fly forward, D ist backward, W, A ist D, dient uns. Und Q und E wahrscheinlich zum seitlich fliegen. Was können wir denn, entschuldigt bitte, was können wir hier noch klicken? Weiß ich nicht. Steht nicht da. Resümee. Da ist der Wegpunkt. Da können wir jetzt hinfliegen. Wir haben Impulsspeed. Müssen wir mal gucken. Ah, da können wir, so können wir, Q und E machen wir seitlich. Nee, das war an A und D in Strafe. Okay.
Commander Westbrook, the Resolute systems are calibrated to receive the probe's readings. We are standing by to reproduce the warp field collapse after the first probe is deployed.
Thank you, Mr. Chovak. We'll be in position shortly.
And, Mr. Diaz, do take care in piloting the shuttlecraft. Now is not the time to indulge in the human penchant for joyriding.
Hey. Das ist doch eine schöne Spritztour.
Chovak probably isn't such a fun guy to work for, huh?
Nah, Lieutenant Commander Chovak's not so bad. You know, once you get used to him. And, I've learned a lot working under him.
Es fühlt sich wirklich gut an, das zu fliegen hier.
I have a feeling I'm going to have to work harder to be a political animal like you, with this new first officer coming aboard.
Wir werden langsamer. Okay, weil wir gleich da sind. Nee, wir werden nicht langsamer. Der Wegpunkt kommt näher.
This is far enough. Transporting the first probe into position. Westbrook here. The first probe is deployed.
Understood. We are reading it. We are about to replay the simulation.
So, mal gucken, wie viele Sonden wir noch abschießen müssen.
Don't get me wrong. Things are definitely trending up with Commander Rydek. She's put my ideas into action. And she listened to me when your life was on the line out on the hull.
That sounds like a good thing.
It is. But I'm still trying to figure out if she's right for the job.
Das kannst du nicht
She
beurteilen
didn't
jetzt.
go through what the rest of us did. Still got chosen to be number one. Can't tell if she was actually siding with me, or if we just fell on the same side.
From what I know, Rydek's a real leader.
Yeah, that is what we need, isn't it?
From a first officer? Sure.
Fair enough.
Test is running. Warp field collapse in 3, 2, 1, mark.
Was war das?
Oh. All right, that is definitely a problem with the fabric of space. We need to get another probe out there.
Mhm. Ja, das war schon sehr deutlich, dass hier mit dem Raum irgendwas nicht stimmt.
Points of data, the Resolute and the probe. We've managed to get an interference pattern. I'm setting a waypoint to a particularly strong area of interference. We'll deploy the second probe there. Listen, I'm gonna give you a piece of advice I wish someone had given me. Make sure you're never just one thing. And don't get so focused on what's in front of your face that you lose sight of the big picture. Before Rydek showed up, the captain pulled me into his ready room and told me he didn't think I had the people skills to be first officer.
Nett.
What a load of crap. I mean, if he'd said that about Chovak, sure.
I appreciate the advice, Commander. I'll make sure I keep my options open.
I don't need to tell you how to operate. You're already well on your way. You're a capable engineer. You're good in the field. Keep up the good work. Who knows? A solid jack of all departments like you could be Commander-in-Chief of Starfleet one day. Hell, Admiral Jellicoe started as a shuttle pilot. And there are places to go in the enlisted ranks, too.
You know, I'd be the best leader Starfleet ever had. Lower decks always have to fix all the problems Command causes. Maybe I'd just save everybody some steps.
Well, don't forget about us little people when you're running things.
Of course not. You gotta remember where you came from.
Ja, das hat ihn jetzt beeindruckt, beziehungsweise hat ihm gefallen, was wir gesagt haben. Das ist doch super. Wir wollen ja tatsächlich auch ein bisschen höher hinaus. Das passt also schon. Habt ihr gerade die grünen Blitze gesehen?
Here, this is close enough. Stop the engines. Deploying the probe. Westbrook to Commander Chovak, we're ready for another sampling of data.
Very good. Running the simulation again. Warp field collapse in 3, 2, 1. On.
There it is again.
I saw it. It seems to be directional.
Well, what about the scans? Anything?
Here's the readings in relation to our local space. We've got the Resolute, Otari Prime, and the probes.
All this interference is overloading the sensor buffers. We're gonna have to triangulate the sensors manually.
So, locate interference peaks. Also hier. Was? Move, recycle. Ach so, ich kann nichts klicken. Warte mal. Hier direkt bei Otari Prime ist gar nichts.
We got something.
Hier.
These markers indicate peaks in the gravimetric interference patterns.
Let's see if I can find some more. Hold up. This is coming from the moon.
A beam that blocks warp travel.
Aimed right at us.
Someone is doing this intentionally.
Ah.
I don't know how they're doing it. This is like nothing I've ever seen.
We're under attack and we didn't even know it. We need to stop them. Unplug whatever it is they're hitting us with.
Die Otari.
Now, look here.
Wette ich mit euch.
Current readings of the ion storm.
These concentrations. They line up with the interference pattern. The storm. And this beam. They're coming from the same place.
Carter, whatever petty local conflict brought us here, it's just a small part of something much bigger.
So, also jemand macht das absichtlich, das ist kein natürliches Phänomen. Das haben wir jetzt rausgefunden.
Presently, we don't have an explanation for how they're doing this. But one thing is clear. This is no fluke.
Thank you, Mr. Westbrook. I want a full briefing when I'm back on board. Solano out. A targeted weapon that inhibits warp travel. Coming from the moon Tau.
That would explain the difficulties my shuttle encountered. More importantly, the tenor of the Hotari during the negotiations.
And here I thought the Elydians would be the problem.
Ja, deswegen habe ich die auch gewählt.
Talks in a warship. This wasn't supposed to be so complicated.
For all their posturing, every indication is that the Elydians are afraid of the Hotari. They didn't bring their warship as a threat. They brought it because they're scared.
From everything we witnessed, I would say that is highly likely.
But what are they afraid of?
Tylus, the Hotari representative, said she thought they found something in the mines. Galvin and Sidron brought it back to the palace, but they're keeping it under tight security. She's going to investigate it. I gave her my tricorder. I expect she'll contact us soon.
You found an ally.
Why would Tylus help us? Go behind her people's back?
She's
Fair
out of
question,
options.
Considering.
She's worried that her people are being dragged into something that isn't going to end well for them.
Das
She's
fasst
trying
es
to
gut
save
zusammen.
That may be true.
She's certainly more likely to help than the other Hotari we've met.
That raises another question. Specifically, what do the other Hotari have to gain in bringing us here?
Das ist eine gute Frage.
Only to make this hostile maneuver against us. There must be some motivation.
Unless they changed their minds between when they asked and when we got here.
Sidron was very curious when we spoke outside the Queen's chamber. He wanted to know all about us, our ship, the Federation. He wasn't giving any answers. He was looking for them.
Well, I'm sure you didn't tell him too much. I don't think the Illydians know what's really down on that moon either.
Major Armintas said the revolt defied explanation. That the Hotari miners somehow harnessed the energy of the storm.
Harness the energy of the storm.
Doing that is beyond even our capabilities.
So is a weapon that disrupts warp travel.
There have been civilizations and entities, both past and present, far more technologically advanced than the Federation.
The Illydians and Hotari don't fall into that category.
But that is all the more reason to investigate further.
Die Frage ist die Waffe beschränkt auf diesen
Sorry to
Raum?
interrupt. We've received an urgent call from Hotari. The Queen's advisor, Tylus, has asked to speak with you.
Put her through.
Galvin and Sidron are still with the Queen. I've enlisted help to gain access to the room they have under guard. I don't have much time.
I'm not supposed to leave my post.
It's only for a moment. I so appreciate your help.
I found something. I'm sending you a scan.
Was ist das?
Got it. Tylus, if we needed to gain access to the mines on Tau, is that something you could help us with?
I suppose it wouldn't be easy, but
Uh-oh.
I have to go.
Tylus.
Can we reconnect?
Sorry, Captain. We've lost all contact.
We can only hope she escaped without harm.
It was hard to tell.
We have to help her. Send another shuttle.
We're
Or
not
maybe...
doing anything yet. Not until we know more. Let's see the scan of whatever the hell that was.
Tylus suspects this came from the mines on Tau.
It appears to be of ancient origin, but the markings are unfamiliar.
We can run a full analysis when we get back to the Resolute. But if this came from the mines, then it might be the key to how they got the upper hand against the Illydians.
Then we have to go into the mines.
The Federation would not allow that. We were, after all, sent here to be a neutral party in a peace negotiation.
Ja, aber...
We could demonstrate that the Hotari have acted in bad faith.
So.
Which would enable us to investigate the mines on Tau with full justification. But of course, we would need conclusive proof before taking action. Otherwise, it could put us in a difficult position.
Whatever this artifact is may be proof enough. At least to satisfy the Federation.
Especially if we can show the Hotari are controlling the warp disruption. And targeting the Resolute.
We may have a better understanding once we analyze the device. The mission to the mines, covert or otherwise, is not out of the question. And I will handle the Federation.
War da gerade Bewunderung in ihren Augen?
As I was telling Carter, I want all the data I can get on this warp problem. And the negotiating team's shuttle has been recording data all the way back from Hotari. Even better than our probes. So pull the sensor and engine ISOs from the Melville when it sets down.
Will do.
I'll join you and Chovak down in engineering to run another analysis after the briefing.
I didn't like this warp problem when we thought it was some astronomical anomaly. And I like it a hell of a lot less now that we know someone is doing it to us. How does it work? What do we even do about it?
What do you say we pull these chips and find out?
Took some damage on the way. That ionic interference scored the hull plating. Might be some micro welds. Let's try pulling together.
All right.
3, 2, 1. It won't budge. Gotta be the storm damage. We need to... Welcome back. Any excitement down on the surface?
Excitement? No. Nothing like that.
Hey, can you hand me the EJ7 interlock? From the toolbox.
I don't know what that is.
Not much use for one on a security detail, huh? Carter?
Yeah, I'll get it.
Was ist denn los? Da ist es.
Okay, I'll apply pressure while you decouple the panel.
Show-off hätte gesagt, wir geben so ein bisschen eine Welle an, ne? Von wegen, was weißt du schon, bla bla bla. Nee, das wollen wir natürlich nicht. Die scheint ja ohnehin gerade irgendwie genervt zu sein von irgendwas. Und wir wissen nicht, was es ist. Von daher...
Here, I'll help.
Wir wollen die Gruppe ja auch nicht auseinanderreißen, ne?
We've got this.
Open up and say ah.
Thanks for the hand. We have to get these isolinear chips down to engineering.
No problem. You really know everything about these ships, don't you? The tools, the systems. Like a walking Starfleet technical manual.
Well, I wouldn't say everything, but I know my stuff.
I can see that.
Come on, start pulling chips.
Warte mal, kurz. Zack. Ah, da sind die Grundstücke. So. Wir sind nicht so schnell wie Data in Gedankengift, ne? Aber das reicht. Was zum... Was haben wir denn da? Was ist das?
What's this?
Some kind of crystal formation?
Wo ist sie denn?
Whoa. This substance is a quantized spin crystallization of hydrogen, carbon, and lithium. It's emitting tetrametric pulses at an interval of 3.8422 seconds.
Quantized crystallization isn't natural. I mean, it's only theoretical as a means to engineer matter on a subatomic level. What's it doing in there?
Na, können wir das anfassen, ohne dass wir...
Regulation 364, subsection 9.
What?
Regulation 364, subsection 9 orders that in the case of an unknown foreign substance infiltrating a sealed system, it will be placed in secure confinement before further examination.
Ja, da hat sie nicht ganz unrecht.
Don't you think we're more equipped to deal with whatever this is?
No. Before anything else, this is a security issue. You don't even know what this is.
Which is why we need to study it.
Once it's contained.
Well, if it's not natural, then someone might have put it there. It could be a tracking device. Some kind of sabotage. Or even a bomb.
Which is why we need to get it to the containment lab.
Come on.
I can't make an exception. Not even for you.
I'm still going to report these crystals to Commander Westbrook when we send the shuttle data.
And I will inform my superiors. I'm taking this just as seriously as you are. But I overheard talk about the warp disruption on the shuttle. Now these crystals? Maybe this situation is more than we can handle with just a science vessel. We could trigger a distress call. Get Starfleet to send more ships.
Ja, aber die würden doch genau in diese gleiche Falle
Or I
laufen.
could send a message to my old CO on the Adirondack. Get some combat-tested vessels. We shouldn't do this alone.
We're at the edge of the quadrant. Help isn't just gonna pop over like we're in Sector 001.
Wouldn't hurt to try.
You talk like you've never had your backs up against a wall before. This is Starfleet. We solve our own problems.
Das wäre auch nicht sehr diplomatisch, muss man dazu sagen.
Stand
Ne?
back.
Also wenn wir jetzt mit einer Flotte ankämen, das macht keinen guten Eindruck als neutraler Vermittler.
Get this to the containment lab. We'll get it set up for you. I'll let you know when it's safely confined.
Oh, we'll be there.
Last thing you want is to study this down in main engineering and have it explode next to the warp core.
Dann lieber woanders explodieren lassen. Genau. Hä?
Almost forgot.
Can't have that.
For a second, I thought she'd gone cold on you.
Dachte ich auch.
Like she might have changed her mind. But I guess this whole situation has her spooked.
Uns alle.
Maybe she knows more than us? Or it's because this is all happening so fast?
Yeah, there was something a little off about her.
Like that talk about sending a distress call?
Mhm.
That was pretty out there. She was probably just thinking out loud. I'm sure she'll come to her senses.
Ich weiß nicht, was die Farben dazu bedeuten haben, ne?
Stacking up.
Das Spiel sagt einem das aber
We'll
auch
get
nicht.
through it. You, me, and Miranda too.